What's up? In this episode, we're going to go over the 5 unfair advantages when you do outbound sales. I'm Jack, founder and chief lead generation officer at salesbread.com. If you're going after some B2B prospects and you want help bringing in at least a lead a day, let's have a brainstorm session. Head over to salesbread.com/contact and we'll have a chat. I'll give you some cool ideas. And I'm joined here by Jeremy. Hit it.
That's right. I'm Jeremy Chatelain, founder of quickmail.io. And if you're wondering what it is, it's a software to help you start more conversations by email.
Boom shakalaka. Let's dive straight into it because this is going to be a fast and furious episodes. We've got 10 minutes on the clock, kind of, sort of. Let's go into number 1. What do we got?
Oh, yeah. Let's move. Number 1, handpick
You can
clients.
handpick your clients. That's right. This is the best thing that's ever happened to outbound, and inbound marketers are dreaming of being able to do this, and every day are trying to get closer to a handpicked client. But with outbound, it's by nature handpicked list that you decide to approach. I've got one more thing, but I want to let you jump in if you've got something here, Jeremy.
I'm good. Keep it up.
So I think about handpicking clients where, number 1, yes, you want to reach out to people who are qualified. But number 2, get greedy. You should be very picky with who gets to end up on your list. It's a privilege to end up on your list if you do outbound sales correctly. In other words, they're going to be delighted by your message if you've done your job correctly. And number 2, you were choosy, so you actually grabbed the cream of the crop. You grabbed the dream clients that you've been dying to work with and land those accounts so that your outbound efforts are dream scenarios every time, as opposed to unqualified tire kickers that may have landed up in an inbound sequence. All right, we can go to the next one.
Well said. This one's on you as well, right?
Yeah, 0 delay. This means that if you start an outbound campaign and you know what works and you know how to execute, you can have a lead come in within an hour. Unlike some other forms of inbound marketing and selling where you kind of have to put something out there, wait a little bit, cross your fingers, and wait for that lead to come in. With outbound, you go to them, so it's not uncommon where a lead's generated in the first hour of a launch. So that's an unfair advantage, numero dos.
Yeah, build it and we will come, right, for the inbounds.
Hopefully.
Right, number 3, low risk. What does
I'm
that
not
mean?
taking this one, Jeremy. This is
Damn.
you.
Is it me?
Yes.
I don't recall it being me. Just
Okay.
before we started brainstorming,
I've just been hearing
I
my
think you had
voice.
3.
I'm chiming in here. Okay, cool. Low risk. I'll grab this one as well, but then you got the next 2.
That's
low
right.
risk because you can test ideas for free. And if they work, you can scale it up. And if they don't, you can change very quickly and very affordably. I want you, the listener/viewer, to understand that I'm not saying outbound is free. It isn't. That's a misconception that rookies might pass around. It takes a lot of time and it takes tools and business data that you do have to pay for, but the risk involved for outbound is far lower because you'll know if you're onto something or not very quickly. Like we said in advantage number 2, you get results with no delay. You'll know if you're onto something or not. So you should be winning right out of the gates. And if not, that's fine. Change your approach and try it again. It's low risk.
All right. The next one is mine. It's a bigger pool. So basically, you don't need to wait until your clients or your future prospects want to find a new solution. You could effectively just reach out to them and propose to them your solution to a problem that they may not even be conscious of. So basically, you take the first step.
Okay, so I think this is a fundamental difference between certain forms of inbound and outbound selling. I think some people would call this demand generation. where you approach someone before they know they need it. Is that true?
Yes, I mean, you could also do demand generation with people who are searching and can't find the holy grail, right? But in this case specifically, they may not even be willing to search for anything. And then you come up and you say, do you have this problem? And it's like, actually, yes, we do. Let's have a chat. And that way you come first before, they even look around on the market and find another potential solution.
So a perfect example of using this bigger pool would be waiting for a trigger to come along to show you that an account really needs what you have to sell. For example, if you're selling a hosting solution that eliminates downtime for web apps, I mean, you could monitor the internet every hour, crawling 10,000 potential clients, and just wait for that site to crash. It does happen. There's a lot of ways you can do that, but imagine if your sales team got a little ping every time a perfectly qualified company had their web app crash. I mean, that they wouldn't even have time to search probably for other hosts if you could catch it at the right time. You could even maybe bring it to their attention that their app is down before their clients do, at an extreme scenario. But I think this is the bigger pool concept that we're talking about.
Yeah. Don't forget to also send them a form for their credit card. So, they just need to enter the data and then we convert.
Right. But you can see how looking for triggers as opposed to what an inbound would call like search volume. You can be there first. You can be top of mind. You can really get there before anyone else if you pick the right trigger and the right market. Jeremy, we've got one more to go, and we've got 4 minutes and 28 seconds. So let's.
I think we're good. I think we were like very fast at the beginning. But here's unfair advantage number 5. You can own the conversation. And I think this is also a very important differences between inbound, where your customer are trying to educate themselves, well, your prospect actually, are trying to educate themselves, doing some research, and maybe getting the conversation framed by other websites or competitors who will then tell them that deliverability is important, that's what you should focus on. And when they come to your website, then you're actually all about, number of replies or conversation started. So it gives you a chance when you're contacting them to just say like, did you know that what is super important is effectively starting a conversation, and therefore they will start thinking along those lines. One thing that's been done, for example, is starting a new trend. Like you're talking, for example, about sales enablement. Sales enablement, no one knew about it like a long time ago, and so, or just a few years ago. And so you can contact your prospect with a sort of like new trend or something that starts and has them, if they want to be part of it. So that's how you can effectively frame and own the conversation.
So I want to pick this apart a little bit because I'm thinking we may have some marketers tuning in who are saying, wait a minute, I get to own the conversation when I set up different landing pages with different copy for different segments. Can you tell me how this is different?
Yeah, I mean, when you're actually doing that, you're not really like, I can have 3 different conversations based on the people I contact. Where you're doing inbound, you're going to have to do it based on effectively the keyword or the intent, or what you think is the intent of someone searching. You don't really know if like, do they come from a big company? Do they come from a small company? Are they new in town? Are they like a big established company? Are they the incumbent? But you get so much more detail and information when you're doing outbound. When you're doing inbound, you can't really restrict those pages to just the people that you know. And so therefore, it's going to be also harder to figure out what's the actual real conversion rate for your actual targeted audience for that landing page.
So it almost sounds like this immediate feedback allows you to steer the conversation in the best possible route, as opposed to hoping your content will convince that lead that they need to take the next step.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. What's your number one favorite unfair advantage, Jeremy?
I think it's reaching out to passive customers, the one who don't know their customers yet, but will effectively turn customer. It's like a gigantic pool of potential untapped potential that, by inbound at least. What about yours, Jack? What do you have?
Handpicking the people I want to work with by far is let's say, by far is my second favorite unfair advantage, Jeremy.
Oh, is
There's
it?
something we didn't talk about here, and it trumps all of the unfair advantages. I'm not going to introduce it as number six or even a bonus, but
No?
I got into doing outbound lead generation because I've seen what it can do to an entrepreneur's vision or a dream or somebody that's just dying to start this thing. If only the right people knew about it, it could change their world. And you don't need a giant check cut from a VC. You don't need a ton of marketing collateral that takes months to develop. You just need this ideal segment, this marketplace that needs what you have, and a way to distill that into a couple sentences, and bam, you've got dream realized. So I don't know, call it making a dream a reality in a very practical and fast manner is the coolest thing that Outbound's ever given me or anybody that I've talked to about it.
I think what we could fairly say is that you're way more in control when you're doing outbound than when you're doing inbound.
Yeah, I would say it's spot on. Very control freak friendly channel. It's great for me.
All right, so how are we doing on time? Did we actually end up with the 10 minutes?
Boom, 10 minutes just happened right there. So
There we go.
there you go. Promised kept. And if you want more outbound goodies, you may want to check out the masterclass Jeremy and I put together, all on outbound tactics you can use for cold email. Course.quickmail.io is where you can find out more. Check it out.
Great cast, Jack. Thanks.
Thanks, Jeremy.